What the fuck is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Tony's Corner. Today we're diving into a dystopian classic that's equal parts action, satire, and pure 80s cheese. The Running Man, released in 1987, directed by Paul Michael Glazer and starring the one and only Arnie himself. This film is a wild ride that's aged like a fine wine, or maybe like a fine protein, given your boy's involvement. The Running Man is based on Stephen King's novel, written under his pseudonym Richard Bachman. And it's a film that's as thrilling as it is wild. So grab your futuristic spandex, dodge them laser beams, right? We're going to run through why The Running Man is a must watch. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and let's get fucking started. Let's talk the plot. Let's set the stage. The Running Man is set in a dystopia like 2019. Yes, 2019, you heard me correctly. It's a little weird, right, in hindsight. The world's under this regime where the economy's like tanked, dude. Fascism, the government controls everything, and the masses are distracted by a violent reality TV show, or shows, I should say. Enter Ben Richards, played by Arnie himself, a former cop wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit. So he's thrown into The Running Man, a deadly game show where contestants called runners must evade professional killers known as stalkers for a chance at freedom and a big cash prize. The catch, the game is rigged, dude. The audience is bloodthirsty, and the host, Damon Killian, played by the phenomenal Richard Dawson of all people, slimy, charismatic puppet master, dude, who keeps the show just rolling. But anyway, the plot follows Richard as he fights for survival, teams up with unlikely allies, and takes on a larger-than-life stalker like Sub-Zero. There's another one, Fireball, all those are pretty cool, right? And it's got your typical trope of rebellion against oppression, right? Without spoiling the big twist, let's just say the film delivers nonstop action, witty one-liners, and a surprising amount of heart. The story moves at a breakneck pace. It's clocking in at like 90 minutes, but it packs a lot, all right? Action, humor, and even some sharp social critique. So why does it work? Let's start with the premise itself is like, it's sci-fi done right. The idea of a reality TV show where people fight for their lives feels like it was ripped away from today's headlines. Even though it was written in the 80s, Stephen King's source material, published in 1982, was already predicting a world obsessed with spectacle and being desensitized to violence, dude. The film takes that concept and dials it up to 11 with 80s flair. Think like neon lights, over-the-top costumes, and a healthy dose of corny humor. But what makes the premise click is how it balances entertainment with commentary. The game show format is absurdly... Dude, it's fucking weird, but it's funny. You got these gimmick players with razor-sharp sticks and a guy who shoots fire. It's like a wrestling match crossed with a death race. Beneath the surface, though, bro, it asks that big question. What happens when society prioritizes entertainment over justice? How far will people go to keep you distracted? It critiques consumerism, manipulation, authoritarianism that feels a little relevant today. It's as goofy as like Survivor or Big Brother, you know what I mean? But, they don't involve chainsaws and shit like that. It just, the world we live in isn't far off from The Running Man. It also nails like the whole underdog versus the system. I mean, aside from the fact that it's Arnie, it's a story that resonates because we all love rooting for the little guy taking on a rigged machine. And let's be real, Arnie is the underdog. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's fun to watch. Arnie's performance, let's talk about the man, dude, the myth and the muscle. By 1987, Arnie was already a superstar, dude, thanks to films like The Terminator, Commando, and The Running Man. They let him flex both in biceps and his charisma, dude. Ben Richards is a perfect role for him, considering what the film was going for. Arnie delivers them one-liners, right? I'll be back, or he's one mean mother, with such glee that you can't help but fucking smile. It's so relevant. It's pure 80s cheese, but it's delivered with so much confidence that they become like iconic. What I love about Arnie here is how he balances action hero grit with vulnerability. Richards isn't an invincible killing machine like some of his other roles. He's a guy who's been framed, betrayed, and thrown into a fucking meat grinder of a game show. You see flashes of fear and anger and determination in his performance, especially in those scenes where he's protecting others. Keep in mind, it's not Shakespeare, but Arnie does bring enough depth to make you care about his character's fight. Plus, the physicality is perfect for the role. Whether he's a wrestler or a stalker or sprinting through a fucking futuristic sewer, he looks like he could take on the world. Arnie's larger-than-life presence carries that film, and he's clearly having a blast, dude. The supporting cast is a huge reason The Running Man shines, too. Let's not gloss over that. First, let's give a standing ovation to Richard Dawson as Damon Killian, the game show host. Dawson was a real-life host of Family Feud and is perfect here. He's charming and manipulative and utterly fucking despicable, all while flashing that little fuckface grin at you. Killian's the kind of villain you love to hate, dude. He's not just evil, he's entertainingly evil. Dawson steals every scene he's in, whether he's hyping up the crowd or taunting Richards. It's a masterclass, dude, in slimy fucking villainy, dude. The Stalkers are another highlight. Each one is like a comic book villain brought to life, dude, with outrageous costumes and weapons. Jesse Ventura is Captain Freedom, dude, a retired stalker turned commentator. That's a riot right there, dude. His larger-than-life persona fits right in. The other stalkers like Sub-Zero and Buzzsaw are memorable for their sheer absurdity, dude. Like, they're not deep characters, okay, but they don't need to be. They're walking action figures, and the film knows it. Maria Alonso as Amber Mendez, Richard's ally, adds like a sexy but cool energy and does have entertaining chemistry with Arnie, dude. Like, you feel it. It's real. And it's clearly fun. The directing style, though, we got to talk about that. The direction is by Mr. Glazer, Michael Glazer, who you might know as Mr. Starsky and Hutch himself. The action scenes are fast-paced and inventive with creative use of the game show set. Industrial wastelands, neon-lit arenas, and like claustrophobic tunnels. Glazer leans into the campy tone without letting it derail the story. The film never takes itself too seriously, but it still builds tension when it needs to, you know what I mean? The aesthetic is in full force and it's glorious, dude. The spandex, the futuristic shoulder pads, dude, the sets with their blinking lights and retro futuristic tech, they just scream 80s vision of the future. It's dated in the best way possible, like a time capsule, really, of what people thought 2019 would look like. The cinematography keeps things pretty dynamic with wide shots of the game arena contrasted with tight, sweaty close-ups during the fight scenes. It's a visual feast that captures the chaos of the game show. One of the reasons The Running Man endures in its themes is its take on the manipulation of the media. It's eerily familiar. It predicted the rise of reality TV where personal drama and spectacle are packaged for mass consumption. It also critiques how governments and corporations use entertainment to control people, a theme that resonates in our era of social media and 24/7 news cycles. The film's messages about standing up to injustice and exposing lies is just timeless. It's delivered in a way that's accessible without being like preachy. And I fucking love that. Culturally, The Running Man has left a mark. It's been referenced in everything from video games to TV shows, and its influence can be seen in later dystopian films like The Hunger Games. Arnie's one-liners are still quoted today, and the film's blend of action and satire has inspired countless imitators. It's a cool classic that's found new fans with every generation thanks to its rewatchability and universal themes. So why the fuck should you watch The Running Man, right? Especially a film from 1987. Because it's a blast, dude, from start to finish. It's got Arnie at his peak, a villain you'll love to hate, and action scenes that hold up nearly 40 years later, dude. It's a film that's both a product of its time and ahead of its time. Blending 80s excess with sharp social commentary, whether you're a fan of sci-fi action or just want to see Arnie punch a guy in a hockey mask. This movie delivers. Honestly, I think it's one of the greatest films you will ever see. It's one of those that, I mean, I don't even want to say there you have it, because there's so much I could really go on about this. I mean, I could keep going and going. I could rant on about this one. But it's, to me personally, I think a lot of it is that, yeah, it does write on that nostalgia, but I think it's also because you watch this film and it's a reminder of how weird times were at a certain area, or at least a certain time in our life, right? Like, it's insanely different. But that's in a nutshell why this movie delivers so well. It's nostalgia. It's also kind of how they hammer home on the themes, but it's not too preachy. Like I said, I fucking love that. Well, fuck it. There you do have it, folks. I know this was a short review. When it comes to ratings, though, how would I rate this film? If you know my rating system, thank you. If you don't, you're going to have to check out other videos for that. I'm actually thinking about making a whole video where I do explain how my ratings work. But I'm going to rate this one as will go down in history as legendary. Yes, that's a bit more than what I was going to do originally, but upon rewatch 2-3 times in a row, I've learned that this is one of those movies, dude, that even for some of the flaws that it has, and I say some because I really don't see a lot, you tend to push past them just to be able to see the brightness, if that makes sense. Like, you can't stop watching it no matter how cheesy it is. And I think that a lot of it, too, is this is one of those movies that it did not really get a following until later down the road. Like, it's a huge movie of its time, but, I mean, if you really go look at how much money it made and what it did, it's not as impactful as it's become. There we go. That's the best way to put it. It's for a film that was kind of like for the 80s. It's huge now, and, like, I just think that it is deserving of being named a legendary picture for that reason. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, dude, check it out on, like, streaming platforms, obviously. You know what, dude? Scratch that bullshit. Get off your ass and go buy a Blu-ray. Or that, DVD. Anything that's retro vibe. If you're, like, a long-time fan, dude, it's worth a rewatch to catch all the little details, like Killian's sleazy charm, or the ridiculous stalker costumes. The Running Man is like a reminder that great movies don't need to be perfect. They just need to be unforgettable. And this one, it's clearly a winner. Thanks for joining me for this review. What's your favorite moment from The Running Man? That's the real question. Drop it in the comments below and let me know. Oh, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more Tony's Corner content. But until next time, folks, keep running and I will be back.